Oh, welcome back again. My name is Lyndon Baptiste. Welcome to How to Get an 800 Credit Score LLC. And today we have a special topic. We're going to be talking about the $5,000 child tax credit, which is good news that we have for you. Paid leave for our stimulus check update, stimulus package update for July 14th, 2020. Which this $5,000 could be included in the next stimulus package. So you definitely want to make sure that you watch this video all the way till the end, so that way you get the special bonus at the end of the video too also as well. Now, basically, there's been a push for paid family leave, like we talked about in the last video, okay, the child tax credit of $5,000. Now, Republican Senator Bill Cassidy said he will repackage his paid family leave proposal as a 5-year pilot program in the hopes that it will pass Congress this month as part of the C-word stimulus legislation. So Congress is working on putting together another stimulus package, and they will be back in session on the 20th. Also as well. So Cassidy had said that parents have been strained during the pandemic and that the paid family leave proposal could help ease some of their burdens. The 5-year pilot program is intended to help with the cost of daycare and other expenses and replace wages for new parents who take a leave of absence from their job. So hopefully this can help many people go back to work during this pandemic and the vast unemployment crisis, where over 50 million people have filed for unemployment since the beginning of the pandemic too also as well. We have an average of 1 million people filing unemployment claims each and every single week. Now, the proposal would provide $5,000 in advance on new parents' child tax credits and reduce families' tax credits by $500 a year for 10 years. If they choose to participate in the voluntary federal program, families are normally eligible for up to $2,000 a year in tax credits for each child. That would change to a maximum of $1,500 a child if they participated in Cassidy's pilot program. One thing, now Cassidy had made a statement here, and he said, one thing that I've been hearing from moms is that they're having to stay at home. Some of them have had a problem with employment, and so I actually think this would be an appropriate part of a C-word bill. Just recognizing that young families in particular can be particularly stressed out right now, Cassidy had said that. The Republican senator and the measure's original Democratic co-sponsor, Arizona Senator Kyrsten Sinema, introduced the paid leave bill in 2019, which was last year. They hope to bring the legislation to the Senate floor earlier this year, but the C-word pandemic abruptly shifted priorities on Capitol Hill. Cassidy and Sinema's bill has lingered in limbo ever since. It's a proposal that the White House supports, but Democrats say would not do enough to help families. Now, I understand why the White House would support this bill, also because the White House and President Trump has been pushing for schools to reopen. And for schools to reopen means that parents would be able to go back to work because they would not have to be at home watching after their kids. And we know that the kids cannot stay home alone, right? Matter of fact, I believe it's against the law for these children to stay at home. So this will help a lot of parents go back to work, which would in turn lower the unemployment rate that it stands at right now. And also it would strengthen the economy because more people would be going back to work. More families will have more money to spend. more families having more money to spend, meaning more stimulation of the economy, because consumer spending is 70% of our country's GDP. So the Democrats, they're trying. So basically, back to President Trump. President Trump, he wants all of this because when the economy is strengthened and made whole again, he can be seen as a hero, and it would help him in his efforts to win the election in November. Because we've seen throughout history that bad economies are doomed for presidents to also. And many presidents throughout our history has lost re-election because of bad economies. Now, Democrats are trying to expand an emergency C-word measure that gave workers up to 80 hours of paid time off if they are experiencing C-word-like symptoms, need to quarantine or take care of someone who is in quarantine, or have a child whose school or daycare is closed because of the C word. That measure is scheduled to expire at the end of this year. Now, Ivanka Trump, a senior advisor to the president who has led on the issue of paid leave in her father's administration, so this is Donald Trump's daughter here, she said the White House continues to support passing Cassidy and Sinema's bill. Now, she said in a statement, "We continue to work closely with bipartisan members of Congress to provide all working Americans with paid leave. As Senators Cassidy and Sinema continue to build coalitions of support and advance bipartisan solutions, we will continue to support such efforts so that no American family has to make a choice between work and caring for one another." Sinema's office did not respond to multiple requests for comment. Cassidy told McClatchy in an interview that he could put his new plan forward as an amendment on C-word relief legislation, depending on how the package is structured when it gets to the Senate floor. Now, we know the Senate, again, will be back on the 20th, which is 6 days from today. If that approach is unsuccessful, he said he would seek to have the provision attached to another must-pass bill between now and the end of the year. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has not weighed in on the push, and his office declined to say whether he supports the inclusion of the paid leave proposal in the stimulus bill. A spokesperson for Senate Democrat leader Chuck Schumer did not respond to a request for comment. So as we see here, Senator Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has not commented on the bill here. So what that means for the bill, we don't know. Okay. Mitch McConnell has his own priorities that he wants included into the bill. Paid leave and the pandemic. Now, as far as that's concerned, House Democrats passed a paid leave proposal in a relief package that McConnell has said the Republican-controlled Senate will not take up. The House proposal seeks to extend and expand a taxpayer-funded credit for some businesses that was provided by Congress as an emergency benefit to workers in a previous C-word relief package. The paid time off for employees that the temporary program provided is a cost that is fronted by employers and reimbursed by the government through tax credits. Emergency paid leave can be used for C-word related problems, including taking care of a child of any age whose school or daycare has closed because of the C word. But companies with more than 500 employees or fewer than 50 employees are exempt from the requirement, which Democrats say has allowed businesses with multiple locations, such as restaurants and grocery stores, which mainly employ part-time and hourly workers, to skirt the rules. Democrats want to remove the restrictions on company size and give workers another year to take advantage of the temporary tax break that lawmakers approved for companies in a previous recovery bill. The benefit will expire on December 31st unless lawmakers decide to renew it. Vicky Shabo, basically Vicky is a senior fellow at New America. She's among the people who believe that the emergency benefit program should be reformed and extended before it expires to create certainty for both businesses and workers that the paid leave program will be operational until a C word vaccine is widely available. Now, she said that Cassidy's proposal to provide paid leave to new parents does not go far enough, especially during a widespread health crisis. Now, Szabo said it is completely failing to address the serious and growing health and care needs that don't relate to people with newborn children. If there's anything that this pandemic has showed us, it's that the most vulnerable workers don't have access to sick leave or family leave, and as a consequence, during this pandemic, are creating risk not only to themselves, but are being forced to create risk to the communities they live in and serve as well. Kathleen Romig, she's a senior policy analyst at the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities. She also finds that Cassidy's approach is problematic. She said that the government should be focused on solving issues like child care closures that will be key to reopening the economy. Romig said that Cassidy's bill is a very limited and very temporary solution that she said will not provide coverage to enough people in a post-pandemic world. That's basically, she's talking about it's not going to help people after the pandemic is over. Now, she continues to say, we have a permanent need for paid leave in this country and a comprehensive need for paid leave in this country, and just addressing it for parents and only new parents and not over the very short term just doesn't seem to address that need, and certainly doesn't address the emergency needs that we have right now, she said. Business groups say it is too soon to determine whether the temporary tax credit that Democrats want to extend would help keep workers on payrolls throughout the pandemic. Now, Carrie Lucas, a conservative, and she's a president of the Independent Women's Forum, she also weighed in on this. She argued that the bill created a new mandate on employers to provide paid leave that is incredibly disruptive to some businesses because they are expected to pay absent workers for up to 10 weeks total. The government reimbursement does not come until later. So I can understand what she's saying here, basically, because the company would have to shell out this money to pay for this paid leave, and they would not be reimbursed until later on. Okay, so they have to cover 10 weeks of pay. Lucas supports Cassidy's proposal to let families borrow from future tax credits because it is voluntary and limited to parents who need additional support the year that they give birth to or adopt a baby. Now, she set up the bipartisan bill that this is obviously not meant to solve all problems. There are some people who are never going to be satisfied, which is true. By turning the proposal into a 5-year pilot program, Cassidy told McClatchy he hopes to demonstrate proof of concept. Cassidy said he believes the program will help to alleviate families out of poverty and assist women to grow their income. He said the bill is intended to give new families a running start, especially those who have births or adopted children during the health crisis and are currently facing job loss and financial uncertainty. The Republican senator said the reason for focusing on a paid leave program that only applies to new parents is that they are most likely to need to stay at home with their children, which is true. Brand new parents especially, they definitely need to stay home with their children, especially, if they can't take them to daycare, then they definitely need to spend that time with their children, okay, unless they're going to hire someone to do so. So we're not thinking of expanding it to older children because our whole strategy, our whole rationale is that first year is the most expensive year, that he said. Cassidy argued that reopening schools will relieve stress on parents with older children. He said that a C-word testing strategy for children should be part of school reopenings. Now, back to what I said earlier before, Donald Trump has really came down and hammered hard on the reopening of schools. And this is what he wants, okay? And Dr. Fauci kind of made a statement in the media saying, basically paraphrasing what he said, that it's not a good idea, right? And also the CDC has also said, paraphrasing what they said also, that it would only further spread and spike the C word pandemic and make it worse. Okay. So, as for the extension that Democrats are advocating to stretch the emergency program, he said it is difficult to predict what will happen later this year with the C word and whether the emergency tax credit will be needed through the end of 2021. Cassidy also went on to say, a little bit of what we're trying to anticipate is circumstance, right? And I think it's best to see how that circumstance plays out. So Republican Bill Cassidy, he's a Republican from Louisiana, okay, and he basically spoke during a virtual Senate committee for health, education, labor, and pensions hearing on Monday, and this was back in May 12th on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C., too, also as well. And this article that I found was written by Francesca Chambers, and Francesca Chambers, she writes for Impact 2020, which is powered by McClatchy, DC. So basically, my take on all of this is I think it possibly can be a good idea, okay, to give parents this $5,000 stimulus up front, right, which is a loan, basically, and, they can have it taken out of their future yearly tax credits for the next 10 years or whatever. You know what I mean? Yesterday, we, looked at an article that said that it would be taken out yearly at $500 a year until the entire $5,000 was paid back. Okay. So right now during the pandemic, I believe that a lot of parents need this. A lot of parents have a difficult time with babysitters closed down, with daycares closed down because of the pandemic, with schools closed down because of the pandemic, and they find it very difficult for them to get to work. And employers are trying to hold their jobs for them, and even the employers don't know how long they can hold the jobs for them, okay, without replacing them with other workers who don't have these problems and who can just come to work right now. Okay. So basically, it could be a good thing in that way, considering it can help the economy to rebound, it can help lower the unemployment rates. It can get more people back to work also. So it could be a good idea. I mean, especially now, I believe that many parents need it, especially now that California governor has decided to close down the state, to shut down the state, and has put a shelter in place for residents and businesses also. So California, represents a big chunk of our economy, and it will have a ripple effect throughout the rest of our country very soon. So with all these states closing down and the spikes in the C word pandemic, where the United States have seen over 60,000 cases in one day. Okay, this was only a few days ago. This was the highest it's ever been, even higher than when we had our highest spike in April, basically in the heat of the pandemic. So, yes, I believe families and parents need this right now. The downside to this is that, it's a loan. It's not a stimulus check where you just get it, you don't have to pay it back. Okay, this is money that has to be paid back. Okay, but it would be paid back out of a tax credit that you may have been looking forward to, but you will not get it because it's going to be taken to pay back on the $5,000 upfront advance that they gave you. Okay, so will this make it into the next stimulus bill? Honestly, I don't know. Mitch McConnell has not even commented on it, and he's the Senate Majority Leader. Chuck Schumer has not even commented on it, and he's the Minority Senate Leader of the Democrats' representation. So I don't know. I mean, some of the things that I believe may be included in the next stimulus bill would be the things that Mitch McConnell wants. I have mentioned. Those may be included, like the business liability protection for businesses. Okay. And maybe some of the other things, the back to work bonuses, they may be included. Definitely a stimulus check will be included. And the reason why I say that is because too many people wanted for it to not be included. And I'm not talking about only the people. Okay. I'm talking about very influential senators who make actual votes on the next bill, like Mitch McConnell. Okay. Many Republican senators want our next stimulus check. President Trump wants a stimulus check, and he has to sign off on the bill for it to be passed into law. The Democrats in the House want a stimulus check, and they have a vote on the next stimulus bill too, because the next stimulus bill that's put together by the Senate has to go down to the House of Representatives for them to debate on it, to negotiate on it, and to come to some type of agreement with the Republicans in the Senate, and to either sign off and approve what the Senate has put together or not. And if they approve on it and there's not too many disagreements, then it goes off to President Trump's desk to sign. Now, if there's many disagreements, then we could have more problems and the bill could be delayed even further. So for those of you who have made it this far, make sure that you check out the link in the bottom, in the side of the description, so that where you get minute by minute stimulus check updates and stimulus package updates. There's thousands of members in our Facebook group, so it's free to join. Just see the link inside of the description. While you're down there, check out other links so you can get free money and other helpful resources too, also as well. So from all of us here at the How to Get 800 Credit Score Family LLC, stay safe, be blessed. We'll see you in the next one. Bye for now. We'll see you tomorrow. My name is Lyndon Baptiste, and on this channel we talk about ways to increase your credit score, build credit, and get approved for the lowest payments on mortgages and lines of credit, travel the world for free, earn extra money with cash back. And if that interests you, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. That way you'll never miss a single video as we make them.